When I was a child, my grandmother gave me a leather box, but she couldn't remember exactly what it was used for or where it came from. We ended up using it to store shotgun shells, though I must admit I wrote the shot size under the lid, so it's probably not an original feature. Over time, the box has become quite old, and one of the flaps on the lid had torn off. It was like this when she gave it to me. Curious about its condition, I took it to a local leather shop to see if the flap could be sewn back on. However, the leather expert told me that he wouldn't attempt to repair it. Instead, he suggested that I leave it as is, keep it out of the sunlight, and avoid restoring it altogether. In fact, he was so interested in the box that he even offered to buy it from me. Now I'm left wondering, what exactly is this thing? Does anyone have an idea? It's used to hold shotgun shells. I did a Google Lens search, and several Victorian hunting cases came up, described as holding shells or cartridges. It reminds me of the British grouse hunting scenes in Downton Abbey, where the ladies stood behind the men at hunting post with a loader. The loader would have at least two shotguns, one in use and the other being loaded with fresh cartridges to pass to the shooter once their current ones were spent. So during a grouse hunting outing, a lot of shells would be needed. I recently picked up a small metal tool from a thrift store near the beach, and I'm really curious about what it could be. It's made of brass and has equally sized prongs, but each prong is marked with different numbers, though they're evenly spaced. It kind of looks like it could be a type of sizer, but I'm not sure what for exactly. Has anyone seen something like this before, or know what it might be used for? They are gold testing needles. The tips of each needle are made from various karat golds. These needles are used to compare the mark left by gold of undetermined caratage on a touchstone, analyzing the color and reactivity to acid to determine its purity. I was at a local thrift store the other day when something caught my eye. It was a set of white porcelain pieces, each with delicate gold-painted lines around the edges. The design was simple but elegant, with the middle of each piece dipping down slightly. What really stood out to me, though, were the handles on both ends. They came in two different sizes, but I couldn't find anything else that seemed to match them. I couldn't help but wonder what they were used for. The shape and handles seemed purposeful, but I couldn't make sense of it. There were several of each size, but nothing else in the store that resembled them. I'm still stumped and wondering if anyone out there might know what these pieces are meant for. Any ideas? They are silverware holders. You lay a single type of cutlery down flat inside the thing. That's probably why there's several on the shelf. One for spoons, one for knives, one for forks. Like, you could stack spoons on top of each other and they'd fit really nice, but the stack would fall over. This thing is like walls to hold the tower of spoons up. The reason there's a dip in the middle is so you can get your fingers in to pick one up from the stack. I have a feeling they'd still be pretty shit for knives though. Unless you had really flat knives, I feel like a stack of them would still collapse and get higgledy-piggledy. I found this strange little metal piece washed up on the beach. It's about the size of a quarter, super light, and has notches around the rim like a gear. On the front, there's a kraken or octopus design with tiny gears in the bottom left. The back has some spokes, and the sides are raised, leaving a divot in the middle. It seems like something might have been wrapped around it. Maybe a chain. I have no idea what it is, though. Anyone recognize it? That's an ear tunnel. Goes engaged ears. While out metal detecting at a 1920s home site, I found this rusty object. It didn't have any markings on it, so I'm not sure what it is. It looks like it's seen better days, but I'm curious if anyone recognizes it. Any ideas? This is a 1936 Nash 400 hood ornament. It's a vintage emblem that adorned the front of the 1936 Nash 400 model, reflecting the car's sleek design and elegance. Hood ornaments like this were common in classic cars and served as both decorative and symbolic pieces, showcasing the vehicle's brand and era. I picked this up from a thrift store a while back, not knowing what it could be. It's heavy, all metal, and has a gold-like color, though I'm not sure if it's actual gold plating or something else. The piece is about 2 inches wide and square in shape. It has a hinged lid on top and a small, removable glass cup inside, about the size of a thimble. The sides of the object have scenes depicting daily life, like people dancing or someone with a horse and cart. I bought it because it was pretty and ended up using it as shelf decor. It reminded me of a mini communion wine cup, but the lid isn't a watertight seal, and the scenes on the sides are not religious at all. I still have no idea what it actually is. Anyone recognize this piece? It looks like a decorative inkwell. The slight green around where the actual ink container is, assuming it is an inkwell, suggests it could be made of brass. The initials on the bottom, BSCEP, seem to trace back to the Barber Silver Company. I came across this piece of science equipment, and I'm really unsure about its purpose. It's made of copper with a coil, and there's a small gold or brass ball attached to it. The French writing on it simply confirms that it's real copper. The size is about the same as a standard cafetiere, so it's not overly large. It seems quite old, but other than the copper material and the markings, there's nothing else to give a clue about its function. Has anyone seen something like this before or have an idea of what it might be? It's an alembic, a distilling device. The word alembic is of Arabic origin. I found something interesting in our nonprofit's donation bin recently, where we collect old eyeglasses and hearing aids for recycling. This item is a gold-plated speaker with a short cord that ends in 2 prongs, and it also has a gold-plated clip featuring an opal-like material shaped like a horse. We've seen all sorts of oddities and accessories related to eyeglasses and hearing aids, but this one has really stumped my coworker and me. We suspect it might somehow connect to a hearing aid, but we're not sure how. There are no markings or numbers on it, so we can't do much research ourselves. Does anyone have any idea what this could be or how it might be used? It looks like an old bell tone type hearing aid. There's a transistor in the tie clip, and it plugs into a cord for the hearing aid. It's a vintage style hearing aid and, honestly, quite a collectible piece. Today I found an unusual object with a package of socks I ordered from Temu. At first I thought it might be related to sock repair or sewing, but after searching I couldn't find anything that matches. The object has little metal arms with 2 joints, and they can be easily positioned. Upon closer inspection, I noticed that the bottom piece is magnetically attached to the screw. It doesn't screw on like I initially thought. Instead, there's a deep hole where the screw fits into, held in place by the magnet. Both gold parts of the item can be screwed on and moved up or down. The metal arms seem to be for gripping the bottom gold piece. I'm really curious about what this could be used for. Any ideas? It's an ingrown toenail puller.